My niece Emma graduated from NYU last May. We're at her graduation party. Everyone's celebrating, taking photos, the whole deal. Her mom is crying happy tears. I pull Emma aside and ask her the question nobody else wants to ask. So what's the damage? She looks at me, and for the first time all day, the smile drops. $180,000, Uncle Tom. Student loans. $180,000. I do some quick math in my head. Emma got a job in marketing, 55 grand a year. After taxes, she's taking home maybe 42,000. Her loan payment on the standard 10-year plan, $2,100 a month. That's half her take-home pay for the next 10 years. And that's if she can even afford the 10-year plan. Most people her age are on the 20 or 25-year plan because they literally cannot make the monthly payments otherwise. But here's what really got me. I asked her, if I had given you $180,000 on your 18th birthday and said you can do anything you want with this money, would you have spent it on NYU? She went quiet for a long time. Then she said, honestly, no. I would have gone to a state school, maybe done community college for 2 years first, invested the difference. But everyone said NYU would open doors, that the networking would be worth it, that I needed the brand name to compete. I pulled up my phone right there and showed her something. If she had taken that $180,000 and just put it in an S&P 500 index fund when she was 18, by the time she was 22, assuming average market returns, it would have been worth about $237,000. The annual dividends alone from that would have been around $7 grand a year, and that's being conservative. She basically paid for a piece of paper that's giving her a $55,000 job when she could have had $250,000 in assets and learned everything she's doing now through YouTube and on-the-job experience. My name is Tom, and I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of people angry. For most people, college is not an investment. It's a consumption purchase. It's buying a really expensive experience that you then spend 20 years paying off. Like buying a luxury car on credit, except the car loses value the second you drive it off the lot, and so does your degree. If you're someone who's drowning in student loans, or if you're a parent trying to figure out how to pay for your kid's education, or if you're a high school student being told you have to go to college or you'll fail at life, hit that subscribe button, because what I'm about to show you is going to completely change how you think about the biggest financial decision most people make before they even understand what compound interest is. Here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. We've been sold a lie about college, and that lie is making an entire generation poor before they even start their careers. The lie goes like this: you have to go to college to get a good job. The better the college, the better the job. It's an investment in yourself. You can't put a price on education. Except you can put a price on it, and that price has gone completely insane while the return on that investment has collapsed. Let me show you some numbers that should terrify you. In 1980, the average cost of a 4-year degree at a public university was about $10,000. Adjusted for inflation, that's roughly $38,000 in today's money. The actual cost today? Over $100,000. That's not inflation, that's a 160% increase above inflation. Meanwhile, starting salaries for college graduates have barely kept pace with inflation at all. In 1980, the average starting salary for a college grad was about $16,000, which is $60,000 in today's money. The actual average starting salary today? About $55,000. So college costs have skyrocketed 160% above inflation, while the economic benefit has actually decreased in real terms. But wait, it gets worse. Because we're not just talking about the sticker price, we're talking about opportunity cost. Every year you spend in college is a year you're not working, not earning money, not building your career. If you go to a 4-year university, that's 4 years of lost wages. Let's be super conservative and say you could have earned $30,000 a year doing some kind of entry-level work, learning a trade, working your way up somewhere. That's $120,000 in lost wages on top of whatever the tuition costs. So when people say college costs $100,000, the real cost is more like $220,000 when you factor in what you gave up. Now let me show you what happens when you run the actual math on return on investment, the way you would for any other major purchase. Emma's situation is a perfect example. She paid $180,000 for a degree that got her a $55,000 job. Let's compare that to someone who took a completely different path. Let's call him Jake. Jake graduated high school the same year as Emma. Instead of going to college, Jake enrolled in a 9-month coding boot camp that cost $15,000. He learned web development, built a portfolio, and got hired as a junior developer at $50,000. $5,000 less than Emma's starting salary, but with $165,000 less debt. Here's where it gets interesting. While Emma is paying $2,100 a month on her loans, Jake is investing that money. After 5 years, Emma has paid down maybe $60,000 of her loan principal, she's paid another $60,000 in interest, and she still owes $120,000. Her net worth is negative $120,000. Jake has been investing $2,100 a month for 5 years. At 8% returns, he's got about $155,000 in his investment account. The gap between them is $275,000 and growing. By year 10, when Emma finally pays off her loans, Jake has over $380,000 invested. By the time they're both 35, Jake is basically financially independent, while Emma is just starting to save for retirement. And this is assuming everything goes right for Emma. This assumes she keeps that $55,000 job, gets regular raises, never gets laid off, never has any major emergencies that force her to defer her loans and rack up more interest. In reality, the average student loan takes 20 years to pay off, not 10, because life gets in the way. You have a kid, you need a bigger apartment, your car breaks down. Suddenly that $2,100 payment becomes impossible, and you're on an income-driven repayment plan where you're barely covering the interest. Now, I can already hear people typing in the comments. But Tom, you need a degree to get a good job. The data shows college graduates earn way more over their lifetime. Okay, let's talk about that data because it's incredibly misleading. Yes, the average college graduate earns about $1 million more over their lifetime than someone with just a high school diploma. That's the statistic everyone loves to quote. But that's an average, and averages lie. That number includes every Ivy League computer science grad making $200,000 at Google and every petroleum engineer making $150,000 straight out of school. It also includes every psychology major working as a barista and every communications major doing gig work because they couldn't find anything in their field. When you actually break it down by major, the story is completely different. An engineering degree? Yeah, that's probably going to pay off. A computer science degree from a decent school? Also probably worth it. But do you know what percentage of college students are in high-paying STEM fields? About 18%. The vast majority of students are in degrees that have extremely questionable return on investment. Let me show you some real numbers from a study by the Georgetown Center on Education and the Workforce. They calculated the actual ROI of different degrees, factoring in costs and lifetime earnings. A petroleum engineering degree has an ROI of over 400%, basically prints money. A computer science degree? Over 300% ROI, still great. Now let's look at the other end. A drama or theater arts degree? Negative ROI over a lifetime for most graduates. Early childhood education? Barely breaks even when you factor in the cost of the degree. Psychology, one of the most popular majors in America? Most graduates never work in psychology and would have been financially better off never going to college at all.
But here's what really makes me angry.
Nobody tells 18-year-olds this. High school counselors push every kid toward college like it's the only option. Parents who went to college in the 1980s when it was actually affordable pushed their kids because that's what worked for them. Universities have billion-dollar marketing budgets showing you the quad in the fall, happy students having the time of their lives, successful alumni who made it big. What they don't show you is the 40% of students who drop out before graduating and are now stuck with debt and no degree. They don't show you the graduates working retail jobs because their degree didn't actually prepare them for any specific career. They don't show you the people on year 15 of their payment plan watching their balance go up instead of down because they can barely afford the minimum payment. And the system is designed to trap you young. Think about when this decision gets made. You're 17 or 18 years old. Your brain's prefrontal cortex, the part that handles long-term planning and risk assessment, isn't even fully developed yet. You've never had a real job, never paid rent, never seen what 100,000 in debt actually feels like. But we expect you to make a six-figure financial decision that will impact the next 20 years of your life. And we make it really easy for you to do it. Just sign here. Don't worry about the payments. They don't start until after you graduate. It's an investment in yourself. It's predatory. The only other industry that gives six-figure loans to people with no income, no credit history, and no collateral is the student loan industry. And they can do it because the government guarantees the loans. The university gets paid up front regardless of whether you graduate or whether you ever get a job. The loan servicer gets paid for the next 20 years regardless of whether the degree was actually worth it. The only person taking on actual risk in this entire system is you, the 18-year-old who doesn't know what risk even means yet. Let me tell you about my own path because I think it'll make this more real. I went to community college for 2 years. Cost me about $6,000 total because I lived at home. Then I transferred to a state university for my last 2 years, another $30,000. Total cost for my bachelor's degree? $36,000. I worked part-time the entire way through, paid as I went, graduated with $12,000 in debt that I paid off in 2 years. Total real cost? Maybe 40 grand all in. Meanwhile, my roommate at that state university transferred in from a private school where he'd spent 2 years and racked up $80,000 in debt. We graduated with the exact same degree from the exact same school on the exact same day. His diploma cost $116,000. Mine cost $36,000. Employers? They don't care. Nobody has ever asked me where I went for my first 2 years. Not once. But here's what I think is even more important. I'm not convinced my degree is what got me where I am today. The actual course content? I barely remember any of it. What mattered was the work experience I got while I was in school, the skills I taught myself on YouTube and through online courses, the network I built by actually showing up and doing good work at my internships. The piece of paper helped me get past some HR filters early in my career, sure. But once you're 5 years into working, nobody cares where you went to school. They care what you can do. And that's what's really changed in the last 10 years. The world cares way less about credentials and way more about demonstrable skills. Google, Apple, IBM, Tesla, none of them require a college degree anymore. They want to see your portfolio, your GitHub, what you've actually built. Elon Musk has said publicly that he doesn't care if you finished high school as long as you can do the work. The gatekeepers are starting to realize that a 22-year-old with 4 years of real work experience is often way more valuable than a 22-year-old with a degree and no practical skills. So what are the alternatives? Because I'm not saying education is worthless, I'm saying the traditional 4-year university path is often a terrible financial decision for most people. Let me walk you through some options that I genuinely think are better for probably 70% of high school graduates. Option 1. The community college transfer. This is what I did. You spend 2 years at community college knocking out your general education requirements for probably $5,000 to $10,000 total. You live at home, you work part-time, you save money. Then you transfer to a state university for your last 2 years to get the brand name on the diploma. You end up with the same degree as someone who spent 4 years there, but at literally 1/3 the cost. This should be the default path for anyone who's not getting a full scholarship somewhere prestigious. Option 2. Trade schools and certifications. Electricians, plumbers, HVAC technicians, these people are making $70,000 to $100,000 a year after a few years of experience. The training costs maybe $10,000 to $20,000 and takes 1 to 2 years. You're earning money with benefits by age 20. By the time your college friends are graduating with debt, you're 5 years into your career with money in the bank, no debt, and a skill that can't be outsourced or automated. Bonus, if you're entrepreneurial, you can start your own business. Good luck automating a clogged toilet. Option 3. Coding boot camps and online certifications. You want to work in tech? You don't need a 4-year computer science degree. I have friends who did 3-month boot camps, taught themselves through free resources like Free Code Camp and the Odin Project, built a portfolio, and got hired as junior developers making 60 to 80 grand. Total cost? Maybe 15,000 for a boot camp, or literally zero if you're self-taught. Yeah, it's harder to get that first job without a degree, but once you've got 2 years of experience, nobody cares about the degree anymore. Option 4, and this is the one nobody talks about. Gap year plus online learning. Take a year after high school. Work full-time, any job, doesn't matter. Learn what it feels like to be tired, to have a boss, to earn a paycheck. Take online courses at night in whatever interests you. Read books. Figure out what you actually want to do with your life instead of picking a major because your parents want you to be a doctor. After that year, you'll make a way better decision about whether college is actually necessary for what you want to do. And if you decide to go, you'll have some money saved and you'll actually care about learning instead of just partying and going through the motions. Now, let's say you've already decided you need to go to college. Maybe you want to be a doctor or a lawyer. Maybe you're dead set on a specific program at a specific school, but you need to hack the system. Here's how you minimize the damage. First, run the actual numbers before you choose a school. There are ROI calculators online where you can put in the school's cost and your intended major, and it'll show you the expected return. If it's negative or barely positive, that's a massive red flag. Don't go there. I don't care how pretty the campus is. Second, treat scholarships like a full-time job. I'm talking hours every week applying for every scholarship you can find. There's so much free money out there that goes unclaimed because students don't want to write another essay. That essay is worth $500 an hour if you win. Write the essay. Third, work while you're in school. Everyone says focus on your studies. But here's the thing. Employers care way more about work experience than your GPA. A 3.5 GPA with 3 internships is infinitely more valuable than a 4.0 with no experience. Plus, working forces you to learn time management and reduces how much you need to borrow. Fourth, live like you're broke, because you are. Don't take out extra loans to live in the nice apartment or study abroad or have the full college experience. Every dollar you borrow costs you $2 over the life of the loan when you factor in interest. That spring break trip to Cancun financed by student loans? That's actually a $2,000 trip that you're paying $4,000 for over 15 years. And fifth, have an exit strategy from day one. Too many students just drift through college, change majors 3 times, take random classes that sound interesting, and graduate with no clear plan. Before you even enroll, you should know exactly what career you're training for, what companies hire for that career, what skills they actually want, and how you're going to get those skills through internships and projects, not just classes. Your college years should be laser-focused on making yourself employable in a specific field, not on finding yourself or exploring your interests. You can explore your interests for free at the library after you have a job and no debt. But let's talk about what to do if you're already in the trap. If you're sitting there with $80,000 or $100,000 or $200,000 in student loans, wondering how you're ever going to dig yourself out. First, and I cannot stress this enough, do not just make the minimum payments. I know that sounds obvious, but the standard repayment plan is designed to maximize the amount of interest you pay. If you can afford to pay extra, even an extra $100 a month, put it all toward the principal of your highest interest loan. This is the avalanche method, and it'll save you tens of thousands over the life of your loans. Second, look into refinancing, but be really careful here. If you have federal loans, they come with protections like income-driven repayment and potential forgiveness programs. If you refinance to a private lender for a lower interest rate, you lose those protections. Only refinance if you're confident in your income stability, and you can get a significantly lower rate, like at least 2 percentage points lower. Third, increase your income aggressively. This is not the time to coast in a comfortable job. Every extra $1,000 you earn should be going toward those loans. Side hustles, freelancing, asking for raises, job hopping for more money, whatever it takes. The faster you kill this debt, the less it costs you in interest, and the sooner you can start actually building wealth. Fourth, consider moving to a lower cost of living area. I know your dream job is in New York or San Francisco, But if you're paying $2,500 a month in rent on a $60,000 salary while drowning in student loans, you're digging the hole deeper. Move somewhere cheaper for a few years. Throw all the savings at your debt, then move to the expensive city once you're free. And look, I know this is all really depressing. I know a lot of you watching this are already in the trap, and you're thinking, "Great, Tom. Thanks for telling me I made a $100,000 mistake when I was 18 and didn't know any better." I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm trying to make sure the next generation doesn't make the same mistake. And I'm trying to give you a realistic path forward if you're already in it. Here's what I want you to understand. The student loan system in this country is broken. It's designed to transfer wealth from young people to universities and loan servicers. It's designed to keep you in debt for decades. But you're not powerless. You can make better decisions for your kids. You can pay off your debt faster than the system expects. You can build skills outside of formal education that make you more valuable than your degree ever did. The diploma trap is only a trap if you don't know you're in it. Now you know. If you're a high school student watching this, run the numbers before you sign anything. If you're a parent, please stop pushing your kids toward expensive schools just for the prestige. If you're drowning in student loans, attack them like your financial life depends on it, because it does. Hit that subscribe button if this changed how you think about education. Next video, I'm breaking down exactly how to negotiate a starting salary that's 20% higher than what they first offer you, which is way more valuable than any degree. Drop a comment and tell me, if you could do it over again, would you still go to college? Or what would you do differently? I read every single one. The degree isn't the destination. Skills, experience, and staying out of debt, that's what actually matters. I'm Tom, and I'll see you in the next one.